David, sorry, I just wanted to confirm that we have a second speaker for the day or presenter for the day in the house as well. Um, okay, she just come in. Okay. Yeah, I
You'll
think
be here.
no, she's just coming. She just joined.
Yeah.
I just saw her joining.
Hey, Presido, Engineer
Hi,
Kenneth.
good evening,
Good
Nenla.
evening. Good
Good evening,
evening. Good to see
Engineer Ken.
Good
Engineer
evening, my
Ken.
president.
Longest time, sir.
Good evening. And I will,
Good
I will
evening.
just be with you guys for briefly. I'm in the club meeting already.
Oh, I
But
trust.
when we start,
Okay, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem.
So,
All right,
David,
we
over
have
to you. You're
past spent
answering
our time
today's
already.
meeting. I think, yeah, Princess
Yes,
will not be able to join in. Speak, she
yes.
says, but I think she should be able to join in. So, over to you, David.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. David Ikwese. So I'm the BRG technical support guy for Business Readers Global, as you can see. And today is the third day for the book reading, which is Competing in the Age of AI, which is an interesting book, and we've been digesting it so far, and it has been an interesting journey. Yesterday, we had Engineer Ken and Lady Afsa take the chapter 3 and 4, and today we'll continue on that same note with Mr. Oluwatoyin and also Famnelap, who will be taking us on chapter 5 and 6, which is becoming an AI company and also the strategy for a new age, right? So these are the topics we'll be diving into for today. And so the first person who will be taking up the mic from me at this moment for the presentation is Mr. Toyin, and he will be taking us on becoming an AI company on the book and taking us on the summary of the book and what we can learn from it as well. Over to you, sir. Thank you, and you can have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, David, for that introduction. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And this book has been so far so good. It's been mind-opening, and it's giving us a reason to not be laggards, and I'll tell you what that means in a bit. Yeah, that's a new terminology I just learned again from this read. So that's one of the things that happens when we read books. So quick one. So far, I just want to run us through what we've done so far, just to lay background for chapter 5, which I'll be taking. By the way, I remain Oluwatoyin Ayedun, and humbly presenting today chapter 5. So in chapter 1, we looked at artificial intelligence transforming the way firms function and restructuring the economy. In chapter 2, we looked at software networks and AI and how they are changing the fundamental nature of companies, the way they operate and the way they compete. I remember Lady Bolu taking us through that, telling us about the business model and the operating model, and how AI should become a tool to transform those areas. And also yesterday, even though I wasn't here, but I believe we dealt on 3 and 4. In chapter 3, we looked at the core of the new firm in making scalable decisions and powered by software, data, and algorithms. And in chapter 4, talks about re-architecting the firm, or re-architecting the firm, whichever we choose to call it. Talks about the use of full power of digital networks and AI. Firms need a fundamentally different operating architecture. And so that kind of dovetails into chapter 5, which we'll be looking at, which now talks about becoming an AI company. And in this chapter, I've got a breakdown for us in the slide. So let me share the slide. Okay. Yeah, so in this chapter, in chapter 5, We'll be looking at AI as a foundational element, moving beyond AI as a standalone tool to integrating into the very fabric of business operations and decision making. And the very reason for that is because many times when we hear about AI deployment or AI use in processes in organizations, we see it as the magic wand that we just throw in and it just transforms the business. But this chapter makes us understand that, it's not a stand-alone tool. There must be other things. There must be other areas or other aspects that has to be developed as well as alongside developing AI. Also, we'll be looking at the process reimagination. We'll be looking at data-driven culture and strategic agility of corporations. And finally, we're touching on redefined value proposition for a company's offerings and customer experience through AI-driven innovation and personalized solutions. Okay, so once again, welcome to this review for chapter 5. So let's just dive straight into it so that we can save some time. Okay, so what I've done in my slides basically is also to try to define some core terminologies that I found, in the book or in the chapter, just to make us understand, for those of us who probably are not in the probably sciences or IT related areas, so we can understand some definitions of core terms. So I just put that into the mix. So as we go along the slide, you just see some definitions within the slide content. Okay, so basically chapter 5 anchors on becoming an AI company and not about adding an AI team, not just adding an AI team. Remember, I talked about not just depending on AI as a standalone transformative tool. So here the authors have made us to understand that deploying AI into an organization in trying to make that organization AI enabled is not a case, or it's not a matter of just throwing in an AI team. For instance, you just say, okay, my organization needs to embrace AI, and then you go get some guys and you start giving them some tasks to say, okay, let's see how we can just transform this. So it's not just about that, and it's not just about running a few pilots. When we talk about pilots, I put the definitions there somewhere. Yeah, I think here. These are small experimental projects to test AI or analytics use cases. So it's not just about, okay, let's try this, let's try that. It's more of transforming the core of the business. And how do we do this? Basically, you want everything, all the different areas to align. In this case now, we'll be using a visual case, or a case that has to do with a tech company, which is Microsoft, which was referenced in the book. And we'll see how they were able to, transform, or how they were able to, use AI to transform their organization and get better returns on investment. So basically, when we look at this chapter, it talks about, enabling organizations to transform using AI. And like I said before, it's not just about throwing in the AI team, throwing in different pilots here and there, trying to test this and test that, but it's more of transforming the core of the business so that it all aligns. So in this case, we saw that in the case of Microsoft, which we all know is a company that we all have almost have daily interaction with, one way or the other. You might be using a Microsoft product, so to speak, on a daily basis, or almost a daily basis. So Microsoft itself, when the organization was being handed over from the original founder, Bill Gates, to a different CEO in person of Satya Nadella. By the way, Satya Nadella is a guy. I should have put this picture here. I think on Monday, I heard one of our presenters mentioned a she. So Satya is a male and is one of the Indian origin CEOs that we have down in Silicon Valley, because we've got quite a lot of them now. Almost all the CEOs of all of the unicorns in Silicon Valley are all from Indian origin. So Satya is one of them. So Microsoft, it transformed itself from a traditional software company. So ordinarily, what do we know Microsoft for? We know Microsoft as a software company, basically you're talking about Microsoft Word, Microsoft this, Microsoft that, Microsoft Office package, those are the things that they were known for. But somehow during this, transformation being done by this gentleman called Satya, he looked at the company, the core of the company, the operational model of the company, and thought that there was something that needed to be done more in it. And that kind of aligned with the, sometimes the stars just align for you as a leader. So it kind of aligned with the period where things were changing quite fast. So first of all, what did they do? They had a strategic evolution. They transitioned from, the software to cloud-first organization. And, in that way, they were able to, sort of, they were able to improve on their services, improve on, customer. They had a more customer-centric approach by doing that. Also, they moved to open source integration. They moved to open source integration. This was a significant adoption and integration of open source technologies. And they also went on, to embed AI. And we'll see that in a bit, that they put a bit of AI into the mix. And so, like I said before, you don't just transform an organization by just looking at it and say, okay, I want just AI to do everything for me, AI end to end, like some people would want to do today. You have to be quite sure that, you are enabling the organization in such a way that all the different areas, all the core pillars of the organization are being, well carried along. And like I said before, transcending from your business model, which is the core, your business model, which is what enables you to, describe how that company wants to make, a return on make returns on investment. Then the core, which is the operating model, which is the day-to-day grind, which is the things that you do on a daily basis. The very important part was empowered or powered by AI. You understand? So basically, ensuring that the culture was being there was better culture, there was better technology to be used in the mix. Okay, so what else did Satya do? So, like I said, he moved from a cloud-based company to an AI-first company. He also empowered every person and organization within the company. So, what do I mean by organization? Like, within larger companies, you have smaller units within the organization. Maybe the matrix style of things. Maybe some people, some smaller CEOs somewhere, some smaller unit heads. He was able to empower them to make them have more influence to carry out certain decisions which help the company. And also, so I'm just reading from where I jotted down. He aligned the company around cloud services, open source AI. This involved major changes to Microsoft products, internal operations, culture, supply chain, and IT function. And also it affected the governance, which is a very key part of any organization. And especially when we talk about AI, governance is one area that, is never to be overlooked, because governance can, if you one overlooks governance, it can kill the company. I will see a key or a primary incident or something that happened based on this in a bit. So also, what did he do? He ensured that they adopted a new product called the Azure what's it called, product. It was brought into the center of the business rather. Engineering teams were also reorganized, and they made them more about or around customer needs. So Microsoft's internal IT became a proactive digital platform builder rather than a reactive support function. So what does this mean? In the past, I don't know if those of us that use Microsoft in the earlier days, if you have any issues with, let's say you have any issues with your system, the software and all of that, what people used to do was you will raise an incident, or you raise there's what you call, you raise like an incident case or something like that. Or you will send, I think we used to send emails as well, or call certain numbers, and that would take, sometimes they would even put you in the queue and say they will call you back and all of this. And that could take, that process was very, was very cumbersome, strenuous, and it would take days, to get certain things resolved. But in the day and time of AI, what the company has done, with the transformation within, is to ensure that, the systems are even like self-diagnosing. So let's assume you are on a particular Microsoft application, and even before you if you just put your cursor there, before you even type anything, you might get some kind of response or feedback to say, what are you trying to do, or suggesting something for you. So it becomes more proactive rather than the reactive type of system that was bettered in the past. So basically, that's the kind of things that infusion of AI into organizations should help the core operations move forward, not transforming it in a way that you lose focus of your primary delivery areas. So basically, AI is an enabler and not a total independent or standalone tool. It only enables you to do better. It only enables people to do things faster in organizations. And so also the chapter stresses on the fact that AI transformation is both technical and organizational. It said Microsoft had to build cloud infrastructure. They had to integrate data across the company. They created agile products, focus teams, and make AI part of both its offerings and its internal processes. So this is very important. So what does this mean? Basically, you as a provider, right? You use the AI to enhance the services or the products that you provide to people. At the same time, from an efficiency standpoint, you're also using AI to enhance your internal processes. So, which means that things that used to take you 5-10 days to complete, you can now do them in shorter periods of time. You can now easily go and get information. I remember when I was in one of those larger organizations back in the day, I think in General Electric, or okay, I'll use the last place where I worked in the UK, which was more of, it was also a very large organization, the Ministry of Defense. If you wanted to seek certain, because we used to have a huge system, huge sort of cloud system, I would say, but it was very complex and cumbersome if you had to search for something on that system, on those systems. You had to use keywords, try and use the exact words. You had to filter and filter and filter to get a document out. And in my own case, the job I was doing was more of, I was a sort of process improvement guy, right? So I needed to deal with volumes and volumes of documents on a daily basis in that role. And so to call up those documents became a problem for me because if it wasn't saved using certain, words or certain, I've forgotten what we used to call that now, you couldn't easily find those documents. The document might be sitting in the system, in the scheme of things, but you can never find that document. But with AI introduction, it makes such search returns easier because AI already understands. You just put a keyword somewhere and AI goes into the system, like it's sort of eats deep into the system and brings out exactly what you're looking. It can even get you the exact page where the words you're looking for sit in. So AI is an enabler, like I said, and if well integrated, can help you both operationally to your customers and even as an internal boost for your operations, for your own staff. And so it talks about, I'll soon be done. It also talks about, integrating AI in such a way, that it addresses governance issues, such as privacy, security, fairness, and transparency. So basically, sorry, I was not going on my slide already. Yeah. So it talks about that, transparency. You have to talk about the ethics of using AI, basically. If AI is not well deployed, one can run into issues because, an organization can run into issues. And if we look at, okay, let me just talk about these ones before I go on to that. Okay, so basically, the authors also, they talked about 5 principles for transformation. So let's just quickly look at those ones. 5 principles for transformation. And it talks about one strategy. So you have to be clear, you have to be unified, long-term commitment from, and you have to seek for unified long-term commitment from your leadership. So when we look at, sorry, let me go back there. Yeah. So the strategy is about having a unified and a long-term commitment from leadership. So it shouldn't be today you are talking about this, about AI deployment, tomorrow something else. It's also talked about architectural clarity, which is a clear vision of the future data and technology of the technology architecture. The product has to be agile, capability foundations, clear multidisciplinary governance as well. Okay, so I'll just stop there, but let me quickly go back to the story I was going to talk about. There was an incident called the Tay chatbot incident, and it was a lesson on AI governance. So what happened in 2016, Microsoft decided to, get a new AI chatbot deployed, and this chatbot was supposed to be on Twitter to interact with not teenagers now, with people between age 18 and 26 or something like that. And immediately it was deployed, they had issues, and this chatbot was found to be racist, was found to be sexist, was found to be all other things, right? And immediately, rather than helping, the cause of what they were trying to do, it cost them big issues, and even had or what do you call them now? They even had legal issues to go to deal with. And recently, if you've been very current on the news, you would hear about some legal issues that had to do with AI. I think some parents suing the big guys, Microsoft and the rest of them, because they felt that AI was either the cause of death for their children or this or that or whatever. So if AI is not well instituted in terms of the governance, it could be a problem for the organization than anything else. And yeah, when we talk about the 5 principles, I was just laughing because I created these slides with AI, and it was talking about 5 principles, and I saw the picture on the screen there. It was supposed to be, I believe, 5 pillars, but AI gave me only 4, and I said, okay, that's why you should be very concerned with the governance of AI, because AI is not perfect. You have to ensure that you are looking at its governance from that perspective. Okay, so I'll just stop here. And my final take on this particular one is that we need to be leaders when it comes to AI implementation for organizations, rather than laggards. In the start, I talked about the word laggards, which is something I just learned. Laggards are people who delay, people who don't want to move forward, people who, they are just there, they don't want to take the next step when any new technology or any new thing, props up. So it's very important that we're not laggards. Let's try as much as possible to be leaders in adopting AI and look for viable ways of implementing it. And in the Fidelity case, Fidelity is an investment company. AI was being implemented as well. It helped them to centralize their data platform. It helped them to build more agile AI teams. They strategized in their focus areas and all of that. And, it helped them, in bringing more customers on board, helped them also in having good returns on their investment. So AI transformation is synonymous with business transformation. It requires a holistic approach encompassing a clear vision, a robust infrastructure, and also enhances culture change, fostering an environment that embraces AI and data decision data-driven decision making. So we also have to work on the culture so that people are not left behind and don't become laggards. Thank you very much. I'll stop here. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony. As always, you nailed it perfectly for us, coming up with, key examples and, things to note and even, key insights from Microsoft and even your own previous company you work with, right? And how people are also leveraging, cloud storage or cloud space for faster operations rather for big companies. I mean, it's a good move. It's a good move for any other companies to pick up. Thank you so much for taking us through that part of the book on competing in the age of AI. I'm seeing someone here, Waka Direct Limited. Please, I don't know your name, and if you don't mind, you can say hi so we know that you are with us.
Oh, David, don't worry about that. The person already said they were quite busy. They're somewhere in a meeting. So yeah, they introduced themselves yesterday, I think. So if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I was off in the meeting because all right, then that's fine. So our amiable Pamela will be taking us on chapter 6, which is the strategy for the new age. Strategy for the new age. So Pamela, you have the floor to take us through the journey. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, David. Thank you, Presido, for the presentation. First of all, for everyone that has presented before, honestly, I doff my hat because, I did not know how technical and how packed full each chapter was. And then everyone just did a great job, like it was that easy, So well done to everyone. And Presido, you made it look so simple. So well done and thank you. So yes, I'll just give me a minute. Let me find my presentation. It's somewhere on my desktop and then I'll present, please. Give me 2-3 minutes and I'll get back to you. Thank
Okay, okay. Thank you. So while you do that, please let us, I remember that as our culture in the boardroom, we are supposed to, send flowers, send our emojis, send our dollars on the chat, and, appreciate Mr. Oluwatoyin for this presentation. Let's send our emoji, let's send our flowers. If you've not done so, let's do that, please. It's part of our culture here in the boardroom. Okay, I've not seen anyone drop though. Okay, okay. I can see your clap, Mr. Abdul. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we are just, waiting in line for, okay, she's almost sharing the screen. She's already sharing her screen. Wow, 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 wow. Strategy for a new age. This, this is massive. Oh boy. I love what I'm seeing here on your screen. If you are talking, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, ma. But your screen is, I can see your screen.
you. Yeah. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now, clearly.
Okay. Right. So good evening once again. I'll be reviewing chapter 6 of the book Competing in the Age of AI, Strategy for a New Age. So first of all, we'll start with the chapter context. I think for this book, for this chapter, I read it over and over, and then I realized that the main message, the main idea of the chapter is that whatever business we're building, we should not just think about the building a business, but also about the ecosystem around this business. And the question we should ask ourselves is, am I just building a business or orchestrating an ecosystem around this business? So we'll look at it. What exactly are we building today? Is it a business? Is it a product? Is it a service? And how do we look at this business? Now, in the past, businesses used to be, industries were segmented, right? There was really no connection. There was no bridge between different kinds of industries that offer different kinds of services or different kinds of products. And so competition was quite stiff. It was between one company and another. However, now with AI, we're looking at ecosystems, we're looking at connectivity, we're looking at connections. How connected are we as a business? Competition is no longer just between companies, it's now between ecosystems, from one ecosystem, one network to another. So our focus should move from positioning to connection and scale. So when we're in a certain kind of business, we don't just remain there. We should think about every other aspect, every other thing, every other industry or area connected to this business that forms the ecosystem, and begin to look at how we can network, connect with these areas and scale. And that is what AI encourages in businesses. So yes, the big shift, as I mentioned, in the past, it used to be, the competition was between one company and another, company versus company. And now with AI, what we're looking at competitions. It's between network versus network and platforms versus platforms, ecosystems against ecosystems. So what we're looking at now is connection. So connection is now the new advantage in business. And AI makes this connection easier. So we've talked about traditional segmented industries, where you have manufacturer to distributor, retailer to customer. So each player operated independently or operated in silos. And because of that, data did not flow freely. Data flow was quite limited. Not everybody had the kind of data they needed to make intelligent decisions. However, AI has changed that. So the chapter started, the author began the chapter with Barabasi's discovery. Albert Barabasi, when they were doing a study on the World Wide Web. And he realized something. He realized that there were certain nodes that were more interconnected than others. And the explanation here is that networks, of course, are not equal. People gravitate towards some networks or some businesses more than they do others. And then he realized that a few players became hubs. And why did they become hubs? It was because they were highly connected with the ecosystem. It wasn't just about that singular business alone, but then there was some interconnectivity with otherwise unrelated businesses. And that was how they became highly connected and they began to dominate. They became mega hubs and bigger businesses. Okay, so to put it simply, you can bring it home, right? In real life, when you have one person who knows a few people, and then you have another person who knows everybody. These people have connections. I mean, who gets information faster? And then who gets opportunities faster? Of course, it's the one that knows everybody, the one that knows more people. And that is what AI does. That is what AI is encouraging in businesses, especially in this chapter. There should be interconnectivity. It shouldn't be just about the business, but ecosystems should be connected as well. So he looked at network effects, and the author defined the network effect as simply more people using something, and the more people use a particular thing, the more valuable that thing becomes. Here he says growth feeds itself, and then it is the core of modern competitive advantage, and that is what AI does. That is what digitalizing businesses does. It brings more people to view our businesses, and the more people come, the more value that business has, and then it begins to grow. More people know about it, and it gives it that competitive edge. So you can think of it like a WhatsApp group. So if you're the only one in the WhatsApp group, of course, it's useless, But when everybody is there, everybody's in that WhatsApp group, coming there, they're a part of that WhatsApp group, it becomes more powerful for us here in the Business Readers Global. The more people come in, the more valuable we become. And it's the same thing with AI-driven businesses. The more people visit the businesses online, the more valuable it becomes and it grows. And it has the advantage. So he's saying that growth will create more growth. And where there is growth, there will also be connection. The more people, for me, each time I visit, I want to buy something from online or an Instagram page, I look at the people that are there. When I see popular names or I see people that I know are there, I know, okay, I should be able to safely buy things from that platform. So it creates connection. Where there's growth, there's more connection. So he talks about different kinds of network effects, and he gave examples with Uber. And he said for the network effect really is about growth. For Uber, with Uber, what they started, it was a platform for drivers. That was how they started. And then when more drivers joined Uber, it began to grow. And then they began to connect riders to Uber. More drivers led to more riders. And of course, where they had more riders or more users, more drivers wanted to join and be a part of Uber. And so it's like a loop, where there are more drivers, you have more users. More drivers will mean better, faster, efficient services. More users will mean more drivers, and then the loop continues, the cycle continues. So with Uber, you had more drivers, better availability. Better availability led to more riders, of course, more drivers, and then a self-reinforcing growth loop. So this is a direct network effect with Uber as an example. Now, he also gave an example of an indirect network effect, where he says two sides support each other. So with Uber, you have the riders and the drivers. Of course, the drivers need the riders to earn, and the riders need the drivers. So where there's growth on one side, it will strengthen growth on the other. So it's all the same loop, direct and also indirect. It does the same thing. One side grows, ensures the other, drives the growth of the other side, and so on. So that's an example of the indirect network effect. So he also talked about the learning effect. Now, this is different from the network effect. Network effect was simply about growth. It was about the number of people tuning in, about the number of people, getting to know about the business of the product, just clicking in to see what we have to offer. But then there was also the learning effect. While network effect leads to growth, learning effect leads to intelligent decision-making. And he gave an example with Netflix. So for Netflix, each time you watch movies on Netflix is collecting data, and that is the learning effect. Data on the kind of movies you like to watch. So next time you put on Netflix, it gives you options. It already knows these are the kinds of things you like, and then begins to offer options for you based on that category of movies. So it's the same with any other AI-led business, AI-driven business. For example, I go to Jumia or wherever, and then I'm looking for shoes. It's for them, they may not have a certain kind of shoe. What I'm looking for, high heels, red, whatever, it may not be there. But then the fact that I was looking for it's learning for them, and it's data that is stored. And then next time they're able to, okay, people are looking for this kind of thing, we should have it. And that is what it does for a lot of other businesses that are AI-driven. For the learning effect, you have user activity generates data. Whatever we type in, whatever we're looking for is stored. And it helps to make intelligent decisions on what users or buyers want, and it is made available. So the system learns preferences, of course, and then better recommendations over time. That's what Netflix does. Yes, it also gives some examples, which I'll talk about. It gave an example of the pharmaceutical company. I mean, this one excited me, of course. It talked about traditional pharma companies, what they do. They manufacture a drug, they test, they sell, they do all of that. But now, what this pharmaceutical company was able to do after manufacturing a drug for Parkinson's disease, it wasn't just about the patient. What they were able to do was interconnect everybody else in that ecosystem. So you're looking at the patient, you're looking at the doctors, you're looking at the pharmacies, you're looking at the suppliers, those into research and development. They could all key into it and get some information from that model, that AI model that they used for this new Parkinson's drug. So yes, for the new model, this is what AI does. It brings different kinds of people in that ecosystem together. So for us, it helps us to think differently, whatever business we're doing. What this chapter is trying to teach us is that, first of all, we should shift from simply managing to orchestrating. Begin to think about all the other aspects, all the other people, all the other areas connected to our business, and see how we can use AI to bring them all together. And this provides more value. And then it says we should shift from just building businesses to building systems and networks. And when we do this, when a lot of people in this ecosystem are involved, we learn more. We learn preferences. We learn what should be included in that business, what should be removed, what is preferred. You know, it's a learning for us, and it helps us make better decisions for our businesses and helps us scale better. And it's also asking us to ask ourselves this question: am I building a business or orchestrating an ecosystem? And that is something we should think about, not just building the business, but also orchestrating an ecosystem. All right, so thank you so much for your attention. I'm looking forward to insights. I know I may have skipped a lot of other important themes in this chapter, so I'm hoping all of us, the floor is open, let's all contribute comments, and then let's have a more robust conversation here. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, David.
Yeah.
David, I hope I didn't shock you into silence. So you're not saying anything.
I've come in. Can you hear me?
Sure, loud
Hello,
and clear.
Mark.
Sure, we can hear you.
Okay. I mean, that was an awesome presentation. Actually, it shocked me to silence, so I won't lie, because initially when I saw the slide, I was like, wow. This slide this slide blew my mind away. Actually, I can't lie honestly. And what an awesome presentation so far. I mean, it's power packed, and in a way, both what Mr. Tony had also shared, has also, I mean, it's almost connected to this one as well, right? And very interesting. Please let us, give our flowers to our speaker, Pamela, for our awesome presentation. Let us give our flowers. Let's drop it in the chat. Let's drop it in the chat box. Okay. I mean, I was even taking notes. I took quite a few notes. I mean, I also love the case study. So love that you also shared from Uber's case study to Netflix case study. And if you even have to like draft a lot of case study, we have a lot of companies from Google to Google's YouTube to so many other companies that are leveraging AIs to connect people together. And the truth is, we are humans, and I mean, connection is very, very crucial for us. So to get people to meet each other, to get people to make money, to get people to interact, right? We need connections. Like you also mentioned, a WhatsApp group cannot just be a one-man person inside. It won't be interesting, it will be interactive, and nobody will be able to learn from each other, right? It's when people come together, drivers are able to meet the riders. Riders also need the drivers as well. So that makes it make sense for uh everybody to stay connected. And the more the more AI also keep advancing, the more companies also get to also learn about their uh the behaviors of their consumers and getting data from them. In terms of, somebody was saying recently in my office that even when we go on YouTube and we are watching videos, and when you are watching, in the middle of that video, you just see somebody that is trying to bring up an advert just pops up. That moment you didn't even let the video wait for the 5 seconds to complete. That's already a learning behavior for YouTube already. So they are also giving that information to the advertisers to say, oh, if you can make your video like this, these are the kind of video that they want to see, that they will not even think that it's an advert. So those kind of things are also, updating people to, even what people don't like down to what people like, right? So keep learning and keep improving as well. The floor is also open to anybody for your contribution. Mr. Abdul, your contribution. Lady Afsa, thanks for joining. And also, who else again? Morayo too, yes.
Sorry, David, I do have a sort of question on
Okay.
yeah, I know I'm one of those who presented, but I just wanted to chip this in. So basically, when we look at AI, from a standpoint of small businesses, right? Most of these lessons which we learn sometimes when we read these books are from a more um, bigger corporation settings, when you have these large corporations um, like implementing these strategies and these models for their work. It sounds quite sometimes interesting, complex, um, and sometimes exasperating as well for small business owners when you've heard that, oh, this happened to make this business get the advantage in terms of scaling and of everything and growth and all of that. How do I, as a small enterprise, how do I get to, also benefit from an AI or from an AI deployment type of thing? What are those little things I can do, to also help me scale? So I just wanted to like throw that in the mix and say, okay, does anyone have ideas or do we have suggestions for small business owners? Thank you.
Does anybody has any answers to Sato's question? Because this also pops in my mind to when he was also presenting that, the whole cloud thing and, how Microsoft has been able to make use of Azure. And I think Azure too is now available for even small businesses. But again, the use case of it for especially this type of terrain or in this part of the world, most people are not really, most people just know the name. Like even me myself, I'm just saying I know it because I've heard of it before and I've heard like tech people, mention it, but I don't know like the use cases of what it is for a business. But in my own opinion, I think when it comes to AI, it's getting to the extent that, there will be solutions that can help, small businesses, right? But one thing I've been hearing so far is that there are AI agents that, especially when it comes to maybe financial part, maybe you can integrate it to your business and you're able to, maybe all those bookkeeping that you'll be doing manually with a staff, right? There are AI agents that can do that in real time.
Okay, so I'll just jump in once again.
So that's what I'm familiar with.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me, David?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just jump in once again there. As in, so what comes to mind for me really is the fact that when we look at it from a small business, SMEs and small enterprise perspective, it's more of how you can enhance your processes, how you can enhance, your operations, the things that you do. It's the same across board anyways, whether the larger organizations or the smaller organizations. But of course, you need to look deeper into what sort of operations do I do? What sort of service do I provide? What sort of product do I do? Am I able to, for instance, if you're selling products, right? How can I leverage on AI? Do I need to use more more of the digital platform to get customers? How do I do that? Using AI in a way that it is, of course, cost effective, right? You don't want to break the bank because you want to try and get into the AI race and all of that. So you just have to look for those pain points and say, okay, from these pain points, what can AI do for me to help me scale or to help me overcome the issues I'm facing in this area. And also understanding that, you don't have to do it if it does not work for you. You understand? Because one thing is for you to understand that you can use AI, and nothing is, to look at it. Is this really the solution for the problem I'm having? Some people's problems are not AI solvable. It's something maybe they need to do internally, to work on internally to get the problem, to solve that problem in order for them to scale, So, but in any ways, we just have to ensure that, we are looking at those pain points and looking at the AI either tools or services or whatever that are available to us. When I say service, some AI services could be something that you can subscribe to help you get more customers or to help you pull in more traffic to your, and all of that. Okay, I see some other people raising their hands. I think Nenlab did, and I see Afsad as well. So I'll just keep quiet. Thank you.
Nenlab, you raised your hand earlier.
Yes, I was just thinking about it. I think when you say small businesses, from the chapter that I read, I think we talked about network effect and about more people, growth, and value. I think the simplest networking group can be like a WhatsApp group. Even what we have here, the business readers group. I think you start with one thing before you move to another, and then automate the processes, if I may. For example, WhatsApp group, what do we do? Or this BRG group, business readers, what do we do? Different kinds of people from different backgrounds. We're all here. It's adding value. We're getting something of value here for us. So we come here because we know we're going to learn. It's adding value to us. Beautiful. Now, as we grow, we begin to look at it. That is like the network effect. The more people come, the more value we're adding to people. Then we begin to look at network effects, and that's where we begin to digitize or automate processes. Yes. So we have started with that. What next? We want more people are coming. We want them to subscribe. Okay. What do? We create the whole subscription platform. We have a YouTube platform and things, and we begin to expand that way. And that is how, connections happen. More people come, we begin to offer other products that we have, and, we grow that way. And I think that is what AI does. So even for Uber, they started with the drivers first, right? Drivers, and then, they began to grow more value before they started looking at riders or users. And now we have other things like the Uber Health, Uber Eats, and all of that. So one thing leads to another. WhatsApp group, I think, is the most basic networking platform. So even a WhatsApp group, we can start from there. As long as it offers value, the more people come, they get what they are looking for. You're not just announcing sales or promotions or whatever. We're getting value. So we start from there and then we build on it, I think. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Nenlab. Lady Hafsa, would like to hear from you. You raised your hand earlier too.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
So I actually joined in late, and I did not really I did not fully listen to Nenlab's presentation, but I listened to Sir Oluwatoyin's question, and then for me, my experience with AI so far as a legal practitioner, it has made a lot of like how you can access new clients, prospective clients. It has made it much easier. Why? Because as a lawyer, you can upload articles, journals online that viewers from diverse background can see it. They can even make their input. They can share their experience. They can give you more ideas using their feedbacks, how you can even improve on, or what you can write on more. Then for BRG, I remembered when I posted a summary that, no, it was a book. The link was shared in BRG group, and it was through LinkedIn. So I went to the post on LinkedIn, and that person was talking about pivot or persevere. And I was able to share some insights about the book we read. And he even told me, the person that made that post said he has the book, the hard copy, he will read it. So just like Famnelab said, it's AI enhances connectivity across diverse backgrounds. It enhances efficient network and effective networking. That's what AI gives us. And we as leaders, innovators, you need to, just like he said, as a small business owner, we need to leverage on it in such a way that it should align with what we do individually. So don't just follow the crowd. Okay, this person is doing this pattern. No, look at what can AI do for you. This is, and mostly look at your challenges. Know what you can solve. What is it that you cannot solve? Then come up with your own reasoning, and you leverage on AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lady Afsa, for your input as well. Very helpful and also insightful as well. Thank you so much. We've come to a close for today's session, and we'll meet again on Monday, same time, same BRG community, same Zoom platform as well, as always, right? And the presenters will be presenting on Monday. That will be Princess and one other person, I can't remember now. But they'll be presenting chapter 7 and 8 together on Monday. All right, see you next time. I'll be on Monday, and have a good night rest. Thank you very much for joining.
All right, good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
David. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Thank
you, Afsat, for that nice
you,
contribution as well.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Bye.